it's hard not to.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get rolling on this then. So, dun, dun. Welcome to Aural Hygiene, the podcast where we look into educational, experimental, avant-garde, and weird documentaries. This is Matt, and with me today is Mark Malek. Hello, Mark.
Hi.
I guess today's movie Signal 30, so I guess I sent you a snuff film there.
Yeah, lots of death.
Right,
I
right.
think. To be completely transparent, I didn't actually believe most of it was real when I was watching it.
You know, as you wouldn't, but this is one of the most notorious of educational films. I mean, it's had like Simpsons references and stuff. So
That's true. Yeah, and I think what an entire episode of Mad Men was based on it or something.
there's that. I think you meant to me like what you wrote in your notes, like 3 bands have named themselves this.
Yeah,
Probably more.
I immediately looked it up. I'm like, whoa, what if I just called my band Signal 30? And it's like, yeah, Spotify has like 6.
Oh, okay, there we go. See, I was assuming that they'd be like a Eurovision, like a proper Eurovision band.
Well, you don't want to crash on the Autobahn.
Bunch of, kind of ABBA-looking folks coming out and dancing.
That'd be cool if someone did. I mean, I guess we'll have to get into it later, but a lot of this film in retrospect plays out to me like an art gallery because even a twisted wreckage of these beautiful 50s cars just
Yeah,
looks
that
like much more interesting than anything we see on the road now, I
no.
think.
But I did decide maybe I can make 40,000 pounds of steel pipe my porn star name. That'd be cool.
That's really long.
Yeah, I
You
know.
better
It
just be
is.
like,
It is, isn't it?
how about we just call you 40 Pipe? Yeah.
No, that's more of an MC name.
I wonder if there's like pushback. Can you go into the porn industry with a super awesome name? They're like, how about we call you Rod
Yeah.
quickly? I don't. It's
No,
not
I
gonna.
I always assumed my actual porn star name would be Rodeo Mirage.
That's good.
Well, you're supposed to take the name of your first pet. You ever have a pet?
Yeah. Well, now when you do that, you're basically giving Russian bots the answer to your security questions.
No, no, no. Neither of these are any of my security questions. Give me a
Okay.
pet
Well,
name
good.
that's
You're
not one of
beating.
your security questions.
I refuse. I'm not going to. I'm not going to divulge any pet names.
Refusal. Okay, and
I
then you take.
refuse. The Russian bots are not going to come into this podcast and take my Capital One bank card from me.
There we go. And then
Fine.
anyway, for the listener who wants to, you know, play dice with the Russian bots, you take the name of your first pet and then the model of your first car.
I thought it was the street you grew up on.
And there's that's the other one. It's the street you grew up on, and I think it's your mother's maiden name.
Yeah.
And that comes
And
out
then
as
the last 4 digits of your social security number.
right, and that comes out without the social. It comes out as a Graydon Moss Oak, and I'm like,
Okay.
that's not going to be.
That sounds like a geologist.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why Rodeo Mirage. I use that version.
Yeah, that's
Although
good.
I remember hearing that before we had security questions, so it's a real thing.
Yeah, that's I'm of course playing that up, but you know.
Right. No, well, neither of those are the answers to any of my security questions, so I think we're good to go.
Well, now they can be because you've told everyone they're not. So you've thrown them off the
yeah,
trail.
they're definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Okay, back to Signal 30. It's 1959. It's the Ohio State Troopers making it, I believe. Is that State Troopers?
I really got an impression from this video that there are no traffic lights in Ohio.
Maybe there was the traffic light was invented in 1961. Didn't you know that?
No, I didn't.
No, I don't know that either. I just said that.
That's my porn name is Traffic Light 1961.
Oh, right. That sounds more like your name for the one of the alt-right message boards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the it's almost like I'm dodging this movie. I saw it several years ago.
Well, you should dodge it or else you'll be killed.
That's right. I saw it several years ago. I watched it last night, and it does kind of just like instantly like leave your psyche. You know, it's like you don't want to keep this one around in your brain.
Yeah, no, it does kind of um verge into disaster porn, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it cuts directly to vehicular carnage, and one of the sequels, I believe it's still Ohio, is mechanized death. You know, so
Well, also it's also kind of like blame porn, I guess. The narrator doesn't not only blame sort of gets off on blaming everyone, but as the film goes on, he seems more and more like just exhausted and annoyed. Like, well, I just as the last one, you see this guy just fell asleep and now he's dead. It
yeah.
sort of takes that down towards the
But
I'm
whatever happened.
exaggerating, but not much.
Whatever happened to the idea of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? What did not kill the driver made him stronger? I mean, there's a lot of dead drivers here too, so that wouldn't make them. Um,
Uh, I mean, they are
so
stronger if they're dead because now they're legend.
yeah, but yeah, this film doesn't really serve up much legit advice or anything, just bloodied bodies.
It is funny. It's a lot like Narcotics Pit of Despair in that it is more interested in saying, well, these people are screwed. Look at them.
Yeah,
There's no future for anyone in who the narrator has cast his gaze upon.
yeah, I only send you judgmental films that judge you.
I'm pretty sure that most of these are judgmental. I don't think the time for healing was until much later.
But no, I did notice most of my quotes from the narrator do come later on. I guess at the point where he's getting annoyed, he's like, his love of speed. I'm like, which speed are we talking about? What do we mean by that?
Yeah, you did start sort of trying to read people's minds. Like, well, he just didn't pay attention to the speed limit, and he just thought, well, I'll just keep going. It was sort of a lot of trying to put himself in the driver's shoes, and boy, he doesn't like those people. He doesn't like the
No,
dead people very much at all.
no. What was the other one? Oh yeah, Overture of Torture. I thought that'd be a good. Maybe it is the name of a Megadeth album for all I know.
I don't know.
No,
I'm not going
I'm
to
not.
pretend that I paid attention to Megadeth after
Well,
1993.
right. Anyway, Overture of Torture definitely works for somebody. That's a good one.
Yeah, there's that might be a death metal album and not a thrash album. I'm not sure.
But no, I can't listen to him completely. He's telling me to keep to the right. In Japan, that will quickly get you killed.
Do you find yourself just do you ever find yourself just sort of snapped into a whoops, I went into the right lane?
Um, not too much, but last week I was coming out and almost had that thought. I was coming out of like the electronics store, and I just should I go? Oh wait, no, I don't want to go there.
It took you how long, how many years were you living there before you got a driver's license? It was a
Well,
while, right?
I had an international license for like the first year I could drive, and then there are a few years I couldn't drive because it's crazy if you're British or Canadian or like most of the countries in the world, you just have to take like a 10-question true false test and they'll transfer your license. But America has 50 different driver's tests and 50 different licenses, so you have to do the practical. It's like they
Huh.
can't certify all 50. Even Canada, I think they have what 13 provinces. You know the word I'm
Provinces?
going. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Anyway, it took Canada like a really long time to get certified, but other countries it's like just one test, right? So the 50 in America is a bit of a bugaboo. And yeah, if you think this narrator hates you, you should try the folks at the Japanese DMV with the foreigners. They're like openly condescending.
Can you just send some of those over here? Because our driver's ed is obviously extremely lax. I drive for my job and I'm just constantly almost killed every day.
Yeah. Well, Americans drive like dumbasses though, right? Like one thing, everyone's like, oh, we have the worst drivers. Nagato is pretty good drivers. I mean,
No, I've never really. I've heard people like to stereotype Asians driving in America, but I've never heard anybody say that Asians drive poorly in Asia because
well, the town you
no one ever
visited,
leaves here.
the town
We
you
don't.
visited me in, and last time, it's Maebashi. If for people that don't know Japanese geography,
Another
those
security
drivers,
question.
yeah, those drivers did suck.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember trying to cross the street there and like no one stops.
I don't. I don't remember it being unpleasant at all. I mean,
It,
I live in Atlanta, which is pretty bad. There
yeah,
were
I was about
lots
to
of
say compared
memes.
to Atlanta, it's nothing. I think my father is likened I-285 to like the chariot race in Ben Hur.
Yeah, you yes, that is an awful road and should be destroyed.
But yeah, the roads
I
here, of course. This is I guess they had some interstates going at this time. So
Yeah, I think Ohio is just a little more rural, and since it deals with state highway patrolmen, I think that would imply that it's not an
their
urban
fascist
setting.
racial profiling of cars.
It was really impressive to me how it showed them training and they were learning like karate and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was like Police Academy showed us the real truth, didn't it?
That was basically what that was, except for I didn't really see proof that that was actually the highway patrol training, but someone was doing karate.
Yeah, and then there's
I'm just full of distrust because there's the there's the bad highway patrolman actor early on that I'm immediately like, this is all fake.
I bet there's a class for making weird noises as well.
What, tennis class?
No, like that dude in Police Academy that made the noises.
Oh, you mean Michael Winslow?
Yeah, I think
Is
so.
that him?
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched it, dude. But yeah, that was I think
Me too. Those were my favorite movies as a kid, and I haven't watched one of them in probably 30 years.
yeah, because the '80s were like a prime time for like I don't know weird mouth noise humor.
That's true. But I mean, also he had a shtick, so he just went on to be like the Micro Machines guy. He had a
Yeah.
shtick too, and he went on to segue that into this or that. It was sort of the leftover vestiges of vaudeville where you could have a thing and then you just go and do the thing in different movies, which just I don't think that happens anymore.
Oh, John Riley almost manages that.
No, he's got
This
way
thing's
more
really
range.
good.
He's got his range compared to Michael Winslow is just
Okay,
incredible.
good point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that when he shows up, I mean, because we were talking about Skull Island right before we started recording, but when he
Mhm.
shows up in a movie, I mean, you kind of I mean, he does acting turns, of course, but generally you kind of know what you're getting with him, and it's great. So you're a little disappointed if you don't get that.
Yeah. Uh, I do, but also I could see that do feel like eventually, probably sooner than later, he's going to start showing up as like a mob boss in
Yeah,
movies, like
yeah, probably.
Adam Sandler did. You know, regardless of whether what you thought about that film, and some people like it and some people don't, but he definitely did a great job in it. Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah, right. I haven't actually seen that to be honest, but
You
I
might
was
like.
just looking down. You talk about how the narrator of Signal 30 gets just more and more condescending, and I had to make a note that this was a quote and not stated hypothetically. Where at the end he's like, "How do you want to die in traffic? How do you want to kill a loved one of yours?" It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's so much doom. It's just like, you will die in traffic.
I mean, I can't
You'll be
drive
dead.
45.
Your wife will have to go. I love that they took a really long time to interview a woman and whose husband, I guess, had died, or maybe it wasn't real. But she said the question was basically, "How has this affected you?" She says, "Well, I have to work now. I have to support the whole family." That was the end.
All right, it's like, oh, I guess a lot of people have to do that, huh?
Yeah, it's true. Maybe not in 1959, but also, wow, that's horrible. I mean, I feel like she could have at least said, well, she also kind of threw her husband under the bus a little bit. She was like, yes, he was kind of a dangerous driver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did end up under the bus in the end.
Maybe
But
maybe it's her fault. Maybe she literally threw him under the bus.
was that the guy that had been assimilated by the Borg?
Think so.
Sorry, that's just like
Oh, you're talking about like the guy who got the car wrapped around the tree?
I don't even know, man.
Because he was sort of like in the car,
Like
if
I
that's who
said,
you're talking about.
my issue is I just watched it, but I've already like ejected most of the imagery from my brain. I guess
So
that's what you do. You let it sear onto your consciousness, or you know eject it from your brain.
I mean the imagery of the twisted up cars stuck with me, and also I feel like the ones that seemed like they were fake stuck with me more. Like the one where it was the elderly man who the narrator kept talking about how old he was and how hard of hearing he was,
Yeah.
and how bad he was at driving after he was dead. And then he died on the train tracks allegedly, and they pull out what looks like a black foam mannequin or something.
Oh,
But
right, right.
I don't believe that was real, but I couldn't find any information as to what's real and what isn't. I mean, I
I
thought
probably
Faces of
don't
Death
want to
was
know.
real. I thought everything in Faces of Death was real when I saw it, and then apparently they had to prove all of it wasn't in a
Yeah.
court.
I know that there's a few parting shots at the end to, make you lose your lunch. Oh, and I should just throw.
Those were realistic.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I bought those.
yeah. But I was saying I forgot not. Oh, I didn't quite forget to ask to give you a summary. The summary is people die in car crashes. It's about it, I think.
Yes, a judgmental narrator tells you about how people died after you see them die, or
Yeah,
after you see them dead.
I eventually wrote in my notes, I'm not your friend, condescending narrator.
He's just trying to make you scared to drive, I think.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna put a name to this guy. Ohio State Highway Patrol. That was correct. The narrator. They've listed him
I
somewhere.
am the Highway Patrol.
Wayne Byers. I don't know who that
Okay.
is. Maybe he was a highway patrolman or something, but I've now stuck your name to this movie, Wayne Byers, which is my new security question.
That's my porn star name now.
Security question?
Wayne Byers. Yes. That's security question. No, that I think security question would be a great like drag name if I was going to just do completely non-binary drag, whatever that means.
Yeah. Now, is this where when they're on the train tracks, they're just I mean they have enough time to move, right?
Yes, you would think so.
Oh no, I guess if you want to meet death head on, you head for a rail crossing,
I heard it's still a problem even now. People just like racing to try and get around a train. Like I think people die even now, even with big blooping lights and flashing stuff and gates coming down.
Yeah, I guess so.
And this is one of those where much like Narcotics Pit of Despair, I feel like there's a lot of institutional problems that are not being talked about here because we just didn't have the language to talk about them, which is that a couple of the corpses, I was just like, well, airbag would have saved that guy.
Yeah.
And also it's just when they're answering some kind of call and then they're going in just complete pitch black darkness to find the car wreck. There's no street lights, very few stop signs, no traffic lights. It's just like, well, if you guys didn't have giant steel vehicles, it's easy to say that now. Steel pointy vehicles and no airbags and no lights anywhere. Like maybe that's what's been killing people.
Yeah, yeah. This movie does have sequels, but
Oh
I
yeah,
was say,
I'm sure this didn't stop happening. I
I'm just
mean, even I hate to use this as a scapegoat because I think it's overused, but just people on their cell phones probably made car wrecks spike a whole lot.
yeah, really. But I'm thinking the modern version of this movie needs to be made with the getting back to the Russians again, their dash cams, right? Because there's all those insane Russian dash cam videos.
Wow. Yeah, someone should just take the audio from Signal 30 and put it over dash cam videos. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, that's not going to be me, but it could be somebody. So
It's probably been done already. But
yeah,
if you're thinking of doing it, then you're welcome. Go ahead.
the drivers in this movie though, they're just like, I will not yield. And what is that red octagon?
Yeah, stupid octagon. I only yield for hexagons.
That's right. Stop saying octagon or a hexagon. I forgot
It is
to
an
count.
octagon.
Okay,
It's an
sorry.
octagon, the same place where men wrestle to their demise in the UFC.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
other octagon that you should stop for.
Okay. See, you just Mandela defect my brain. I was like, well, what do the stop signs look like? Well, okay. You know what?
Japan doesn't have octagons, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I actually have a pretty good excuse for not quite remembering the shape of a stop sign. We have
squares.
No, it's like red circles, like a red circle and then like a red circle around that.
Okay. Like a donut.
Something like that. I can't, you know what? That's actually though. Now I'm stupid again because I'm like I can't even quite picture the Japanese stop sign. But hey, I know what they are when I see them. So
Well, I definitely did when I saw when he was talking about how people didn't pay attention to the stop sign. That particular segment was just a massive 2-lane highway with ditches on either side, and it seemed like there was just one stop sign where there should have been 3 or 4. And that's just my modern sensibilities going through. It did remind me of people outside of Atlanta and rural Georgia are afraid to drive here because of so much traffic, but I'm terrified to drive outside of Atlanta because if you go to the distant suburbs, you're on like a 1-lane road with ditches on either side, and people are driving super fast behind you, and
well, gosh, I
it's
can't
different.
go driving in the city.
People were much more comfortable just driving super fast on a road with a bunch of blind curves.
What's so? I mean, you know how the Japanese streets are, and I've gotten nuts enough to go in those like tiny squirrely streets all over the place. But
Oh.
I don't know how I do it on an American highway now because here it's like maybe once or twice a year I get on a highway. Like and then it's always like whoa, and I'm going fast now. But they're tolls in Japan, right? So you only take them when you really need them.
I do remember you sending me off with one of your friends or one of your students to a mall, and he had to drive on the highway, and it was pretty scary because there were a bunch of, I think, checkpoints or something. It was like a bunch of sort of turnoffs that I didn't understand on the
Yeah.
highway in
It's
Japan.
it's almost all tolled. So you
Yeah.
typically stay on the surface streets, and they get real narrow and insane. I've actually had to like bring my side windows in once or twice to get through the street,
Ugh.
which
Yeah, and I'd
is
be
intended
terrified
for
of
vehicular traffic.
yeah, I'd be terrified of breaking any laws there since there's the whole guilty until proven innocent thing.
Yeah. Um, I guess I'm into the educational films because I think it's fun to watch them. But yeah, this one,
Mm.
I mean, it is one of the best known, but yeah, it's not particularly fun to watch.
Yeah, all the death.
Yeah.
I do think the cars look really cool as Twisted Wreckage is.
Yeah, I was about to
It's
say the
I
cars look cool till they get twisted into twisted metal.
yeah, if they'd put more like terrible highway patrolmen doing dialogue in, it would have been a lot more fun. But I could see why they didn't because they're like, oh, we got all this juicy snuff footage. Why are we gonna like waste it with the
I guess
scripted
this
dialogue?
the special sauce for this one that really has it kind of pushed over a bit is the condescending, insane narration. I mean, maybe you should. I mean, especially if you don't want to see like actual horrible things on film, well, a 60-year-old film, but whatever. That's still blood on the tracks and stuff. So yeah, you could listen to this one, except for the times the sound cuts out.
Well, there is a long. It's 27 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
It's really long. The narrator obviously is just trying to fill time, and he still doesn't really get all that
which
much filled.
that's why he keeps getting angrier. It's like I thought this was gonna be a 10-minute job. Why am I still here?
Yeah, I bet he went in all cocky, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna just scare everyone," and then he ran out of things to say after 5 minutes. Just
That's
like,
right.
once
So
again,
should you watch this one? Well, I guess the idea of the podcast is you just watched it and now you're listening to us. It would seem
oh,
a little weird. I don't know. I guess you could go the other way around, but
yeah, I don't think we're really trying to sell any of this stuff. I think it's probably
I think it's all public domain now.
yeah. Well, if dear listener, if you haven't watched it, then get ready for some dead corpses.
Yeah. And it's foreshadowed from the start. The first time we see a police car, apparently the Popo cars at that time had like rings with wings. They got like angel wings on the
Hmm.
side of the police cars. I'm like, well, what do they
Oh,
expect? Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
But
Well, it's a
you
little bit
have
of hero worship. I guess they have the angel wings because they're there to carry your corpse to the afterlife after you die in a signal 30.
you think you should go towards the light or not go towards the light?
It depends on what color the light is.
Could be
Guess.
could be it's a beautiful light. It's a beautiful light. You feel like you should go towards it.
I It's sure. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go
What if
no.
what
So you can tell how like indecisive I am.
could be an Archon trick though.
Yeah, it's
I think too is at that point you just meditate, right?
the question is, if you die in space, are you able to go to heaven
You go
or are
to
you
space
unable to
heaven.
go to hell?
You go to space heaven.
If you die in space, if you die in space, can you not possibly go to hell? You're
You'd
too
be in
far
the center
away.
of a star. That would be the hell.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well,
Sounds kind of
unless we get all
like I'd dance a
Dante,
lot.
then hell is frozen, right? So let's not just
Uh,
assume it's a hot place.
that makes sense. I don't think that. Well, then again, there's the movie Frozen. That wasn't very hellish. That was kind of fun. You have like an ice palace.
Mm.
You make a snowman, and then he has existential crises for the entire rest of your movie series.
Sorry, my daughter was like 4 or 5 when that came out, so I don't think I could bear to see that movie again.
See, I watched it for the first time right when quarantine started, and I was like, "Well, time to watch things that make me feel good." And
Did you sing
I
along?
enjoyed it. No, but I did. I was impressed by the just sheer amount of confidence when that song came. It was like you could tell the people who made that movie were like, "This song's gonna make us $1 billion. Check this out."
No, I remember the preview for that film, like 6 months before it came out, was just that was Let It Go, right? Let It
I don't
Go.
remember that at all. I think that was
Maybe it
just
was a Japanese thing. I don't know. It was in a Japanese theater, but I do remember like the movie had come out and was already really popular, but I hadn't really heard the song yet. So I was at a party at my job, and they're like, "Oh, can you play it? Here's the words." I'm like, "I don't know how the song goes." So I just ended up playing a drone, and I had my coworker just like do it as a weird spoken word.
that's great. I, I do. I only remember the trailer for the second one was just the part of the second film where Elsa's just like trying to like freeze the ocean and run up on a thing or to a mountain, and there was no dialogue at all over that, and I had no idea what that meant, and it was just very confusing to me.
Was that before or after her harrowing car wreck? So I'm
After.
just trying to tie things back in, right? But yeah, I guess we're pretty much finished on the Signal 30. You want to throw out any digital presence?
Hey, I have digital presence at stunrunner.bandcamp.com.
Is it present now?
Music is happens.
Okay.
Whenever this is airs, it will be.
Right. This is Aural Hygiene. We're at Aural Hygiene Pod on Twitter, Facebook. Apparently all of the podcasts that we do, including the Sci-Fi Sanctuary, can now be found at Podcastium.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Is that a Harry Potter reference?
No, it's the reference to some British comedy where someone they had like consortium like as like the dumbest possible company name, so it's just slightly altered for us.
See, it's
But I did
love
ask.
British comedy because I can just hear it and laugh at it without having any idea.
I had the same
context.
reaction though because I asked Luke when he told me a name. Oh, what does that spell do? Makes podcast, of course, but yeah.
Sure.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up today, so stay safe as you drive in your car at 45 miles an hour.
It's a drive out of this Aural sanctuary.
This is a drive out of the Aural Hygiene. There's no sanctuary here.
It's a hygiene is a place. All right, drive safe, everyone. Don't die.
Oh, don't end the meeting. I hit the wrong button again. I wanted to stop recording.